2024 is going to look a little different for the Sioux Falls Storm. Not the storybook ending that they were hoping for last season, unfortunately, but the new head coach for the first time in a long time. We get to dive into the Sioux Falls Storm. Let's go in the alley and check it out. Hey guys, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody, and today we are going to be talking about the 2024 Sioux Falls Storm. Now, I'm going to ask this question. When you think of indoor football, who do you think of? Because for me personally, I think of the Sioux Falls Storm. Now, I know people watching this or people that are fans or other teams could sit there and say, well, Arizona, Iowa, Jacksonville, whatever. And I would kind of agree with you, but those teams all got their start in arena rules. I think the Sioux Falls Storm for me are indoor football. And I'll be brutally honest with you, when the Sioux Falls Storm decided to stay in the indoor football league instead of going to Champions Indoor Football almost a decade ago, I think that move, in my opinion, I think single-handedly saved the indoor football league. I know other people have other opinions, but I think keeping them there, or here, I guess, helped the indoor football league thrive. Now, there's other factors, obviously. I don't want to get into it. We're going to talk 2024, but when I think of the indoor football league, I think of the Sioux Falls Storm. And had they ever left this league, it would have been a damn shame. There might have been a huge stack of dominoes that could have fallen. But for God's sakes, the commissioner used to own this team. That's how much the Indoor Football League and Sioux Falls are hand in hand with each other. And God, you look at the logos, they're damn near the same colors. Coincidence? I think not. I'm kidding. But, yeah, I don't know. This team is just... There's just a mystique about them. I can't place it. There's just a mystique. When I started watching the Nebraska Danger, Sioux Falls Storm was there to just annihilate them in the championships. So, I don't know. I'm so happy this team is here. They're a force. They will continue to be a force. We'll talk about their history, schedule, players, everything along those lines. And obviously we got to talk about a retirement a couple retirements actually, that are well within the making. Without further ado, let's go talk about the history of the Sioux Falls Storm. Okay, so history tab popping up here. The Sioux Falls Storm are located in, you guessed it, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Head coach, gasp, it's not Curtis Riggs. This year it's Andre Fields. Curtis Riggs retired. And like I said at the very beginning, it sucks that the storybook ending didn't happen, but let's not pretend like Andre Fields hasn't been with the Sioux Falls Storm for the last 11 years. Curtis Riggs' son, Peyton Riggs, is still the offensive coordinator here, so, I mean, the coaching is still there. Yes, is it going to suck not having Curtis Riggs on the sidelines? Yes. But don't think for 1 second that the Sioux Falls Storm are going to drop off heavily. They're going to be going in somewhat of a different direction, but I still see this team being a force to be reckoned with. Simple as that. They play in the Denny Sanford Premier Center, 10,678 for a capacity, 11 championships. I smile every time I see that. I'm not a Sioux Falls fan by any means, but 11 championships. This is the freaking Alabama of indoor football, man. 7 titles in the Indoor Football League, 2019, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11. 6 straight years. 4 championships in the United Indoor Football, 08, 07, 06, and 05. And I'll tell you, when I got into the Indoor Football League in 2015 and I saw the Nebraska Danger make the championship game, my dumbass thought they had a chance. My dumbass thought they had a chance on the way to a 62-27 drubbing. This team, this Sioux Falls team, was dominant. I know I got in here a little bit late, and I would love for anyone that is a Sioux Falls fan or anyone that has ever witnessed this, 1, 2, 3-time dynasty, 6 championships, and then another 4 before that. Like, this could be a dynasty like 3 or 4 times over. Let me know how truly, truly dominant this team was. I know I'm not going to do it justice. I want to hear people's passion about this damn team. It makes me smile. Like I said, it makes me smile looking at this and just seeing, hey, we've won 11 championships. How many have you won? None? Cool. I don't know. It's just insane. It's insane to think about the runs that they have had. 2023, 9-6, good for the number 2 seed in the East. And again, they needed magic to happen last year. I believe they were sitting at the 4th seed in the final week of the season, and they had to beat Massachusetts, and Iowa needed to beat Quad City in the final week of the season to claim the number 2 seed. Guess what happened? Exactly that. So they go from the 4th seed to the number 2 seed all the way to the national championship game. Obviously, storybook ending didn't happen. 9-6, we'll go to the last 5 years here. 33-25 overall, 9-6, losing in the championship game to Bay Area in 2023. In 2022, they did not qualify at 8-8. So I guess that was kind of some poetic justice in 2023, because I believe in 2022, I believe it might have been the final week of the season, and Iowa and Quad City both clinched their playoff spots at 9-7, if I'm not mistaken. Sioux Falls went 8-8, and they were the first team out in the East. So, like I said, maybe a little bit of poetic justice, righting the wrongs of 2022 for what they did in 2023. But regardless, 2021, 6-7, losing in the quarterfinals. Under 500, but still making the playoffs. If I remember that year correctly, I believe that was when Lorenzo Brown retired for either the entire season or he might have come back later on. I think he was retired for that full season, because I think that's when Tommy Armstrong took over. Go Big Red. And I can't remember the other quarterback that they had there as well, but Tommy Armstrong was the quarterback because I think he was with the Danger for a little bit and then eventually signed with Sioux Falls. 2019, 11-3, winning the United Bowl against Arizona, and then 2018, 11-3, losing the United Bowl to Iowa. Fun little fun fact here. Minus 3 championship games, Sioux Falls has been a part of every single other one in Indoor Football League history. They have not been a part of United Bowl 1, and then they have not been a part of the national championship game between Northern Arizona and Quad City, and then the United Bowl in 2021 between Arizona and Massachusetts. Every other United Bowl or national championship game, Sioux Falls has been a part of. That's just insane to think about. They have 11 freaking championships, man, and they always find a way to get to the championship game. Coaching, players, a way around it. I don't know. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. But will they have a tougher time this year? Stiffer competition, Jacksonville coming into the East, things along those lines. Let's go check out their schedule, see what they can do to get back into the playoffs. Okay, so schedule tab popping up here, and I'm going to tell you this. 1, schedule's tough. 2, it's very, very favorable. God, it is one of the more favorable schedules. Like I've said, the West is going to be tougher than the East. So if you are in the East, you probably have, dare I say, an easier draw, depending on if you draw anyone from the West. I know Green Bay and Quad City only play Eastern Conference opponents. Sioux Falls is only playing Vegas. So everyone else is in the East. They also have a very good draw of only playing Frisco one time. They have a 3-game series against Quad City and a 3-game series against Green Bay. Other than that, it's home and homes against Iowa, home and home against Tulsa, Jacksonville, Massachusetts, and then they only play Frisco once and they play Vegas out of the West. So it's really favorable, especially since early on you get Massachusetts on the road, so you get to go back home later in the season, but it's early enough that have you figured enough out yet? That should be a very, very good game early on. Then you get a bye week, and then you get to focus on Tulsa and Green Bay. So if by any chance you go 0-2 to start that, you get that bye week to correct it. I don't think they're going 0-2. That being said, it's just a very, very favorable schedule. The only tough part, in my opinion, would be towards that end where they're on the road at Frisco and then home against Jacksonville. If they put 110% effort in both of those games? Is it something that, they play Vegas, and then it's something along the lines of like, hey, we're looking ahead to Frisco, so is it something where Tulsa trips them up? Potentially. And then, hey, we've played at Frisco and home against Jacksonville, whether that's in the area of clinching a playoff spot or whatever, and then it's like, all right, now we're on the road twice, Quad City and Iowa. Could it be something where one of those teams kind of catches them slipping? Potentially. Other than that, it's a pretty favorable schedule. I will be brutally honest with you. I think it's something along the lines of, I think 9-7 is probably their floor. I honestly think that. And that's assuming that they lose all of their games to Massachusetts, Jacksonville, Frisco, and maybe get caught slipping against maybe a couple of other teams. Other than that, I see this team as double-digit wins. I mean, I'm pretty ready to crown this team as the final playoff team in the East. I don't know seeding yet. They're not the fourth seed, but the fourth and final team that I personally have kind of locked into the playoffs. So, yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with their schedule. Let's go talk players really quick and get out of here with our final thoughts. All right, so as the returning players and key losses and stuff pop up here, let's start off with wide receiver Donnie Corley Jr. I want to highlight him, talk a little bit about the offense. But 60 receptions, 855 receiving yards, 21 touchdowns, just 25 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. He was their leading receiver last year. He was pretty damn good last year. And when you bring in the likes of a Kentrez Bell, Carlos Thompson, and I believe before the transactions page went down, I believe they had signed Cole Thurnis. They bring back Seth Collins as their quarterback. I believe he is their starter. And then just yesterday, they re-signed their running backs, Xavier Jackson and Bryson Denley. The skill positions on this team are deadly, man. That is how you reload after losing in a championship game. This offense is going to be something to watch. But Donnie Corley's going to fit in right here. He's going to probably battle the other two former San Diego guys for, obviously, number 1 reps. Whoever gets it is well deserving of it, obviously. Corley is not going to make that easy, but I think they are all going to fit in pretty well, Thurnis included, running backs included. Again, this offense is going to be deadly. It'll be up to other teams to try and stop them, but this is kind of the reason why I've penciled this team in as a playoff team. Obviously, we'll talk more about that in final thoughts. Let's move on to the defense here, though. They've re-signed defensive lineman Andreas Lilly. Sioux Falls last season, 30.5 tackles, 12.5 tackles for a loss, 5.5 sacks. He was pretty good. He was pretty good on that defensive line. If I saw the photos correctly on Reading Across America Day, I saw jersey number 16, and last season that would predict Isaiah Blackman. I have not gotten confirmation. People can enlighten me if he is signed back. I've also saw a Facebook comment of Claude Davis from Duke City saying that he is with Sioux Falls. If that is the case, that defensive line is already in place. Simple as that. Andreas Lilly, Claude Davis, and if Isaiah Blackman is back, because again, I'm basing this just off before the transactions page went down and who Sioux Falls has announced. They haven't announced a lot, but that's all I can kind of base it off of. So let me know. Again, let me know who players have signed, what players have signed, left, whatever. I want to get as clear of a picture as I can so I can be as accurate as I can with these. But if those are all true, which I believe them to be, that defensive line is set. That defensive line is set. This defense is looking to be good as well. Moving to the secondary here, defensive back LaRonji Vasson McCoy played with Sioux Falls last season, 99.5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 pick, 3 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. He was everywhere. That secondary for Sioux Falls was everywhere last year. You pretty much had all 4 starting the entire season. I think Byron Edwards came in about halfway through, but between Vasson McCoy, Eugene Ford, Clifton Duck, and then Byron Edwards, I mean, that secondary was great. It was awesome. I don't even think they had like a depth defensive back sometimes when you do like the 21-man roster and then the 4 kind of on the bench. I don't think they ever really had a defensive back. It was like, all right, you 4 are going to play, but you don't get a break. Good luck. So they fared really well. There's a reason why Eugene Ford is somewhere else. There's a reason. We'll talk about Clifton Duck. I'm not sure where Byron Edwards is, but hey, you had a feeling that this defensive secondary was going to go somewhere to go showcase their talents and be number ones somewhere else. Vasa McCoy is probably going to be the number 1 here, but yeah, don't think for one second that this defense is something to sleep on as well. Sioux Falls is just as back as they have ever been. But let's go talk about some key losses here, and we'll get out of here with final thoughts. All right, on to key losses. We're going to start it off with quarterback Lorenzo Brown, who played his final game in the national championship last season. Never say never, but if I remember correctly, I believe this was his last game along with Curtis Riggs, and it's pretty much time for a fresh start for the Sioux Falls Storm. But what a way to go out if it truly, truly is his last game with the Storm. Excuse me. 2,357 passing yards, 48 passing touchdowns, 726 rushing yards, 33 rushing touchdowns. It was a freaking renaissance, man. I mean, this dude was amazing. That's how you make a championship game. I mean, over 3,000 total yards, over 81 total touchdowns. The guy was on one, slinging the ball all over, running for his life. And he was great. My personal opinion, I think he was the guy that pretty much willed Sioux Falls. I mean, that's not to discredit the wide receivers, the defense, the running backs, whatever, but he was really, really, really good. And I just remember a couple years ago, whether it was that 2021 season, maybe 2022, where people were like, he needs to hang it up, man. We got to move on from him. And then he goes out and does this. And all the credit to him, all the credit, obviously, to that team last season to make the championship game. It's going to suck not to see him under center for Sioux Falls. But moving on, let's talk about linebacker James Brown. He is also retired. He put out a video, I believe, just a few days ago or last week, somewhere close to that. He retired as a Green Bay Blizzard, but he played last season with the Sioux Falls Storm with 110 tackles, 12 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks, 1 interception, 4 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 blocked kick, and a partridge in a pear tree. Good enough for 2023 second team All-Indoor Football League. He was everywhere. He was just freaking everywhere. He was in the backfield. He was cutting off the edge to the running game. He was breaking up passes. I mean, wherever you thought you were throwing the ball, chances are he was probably there. If you completed the pass, chances are he was the guy tackling you. Chances are if you got the running, if you ran the ball, he was the guy tackling you. So, a shame to see him also retire. Just 2 great players for Sioux Falls last season. They played their last game. It was great to see him retire as a Blizzard. It's just, how do you replace that, man? I know they've got Jalen James coming back, and I think he started the one game that they gave James Brown off. I remember there was one game, don't remember the game in particular, but they pretty much were like, well, why is he not playing? It's just, well, he just needed the night off. So, bringing Jalen James in, I don't think it's necessarily an upgrade, but he knows the system. I don't know if he can fill those shoes. That's not to put pressure on the guy, but he's going to step up and do what he can to fill those shoes. Needless to say, I think they're going to go with him. I'm not sure if they've got rookies that can come in and compete for that, or if they've already given him pretty much the starting linebacker position. But it sucks to see James Brown retire. It sucks to see some of these guys that I kind of watched when I first got in here kind of just leave the way that they have. Put up all these stats, these great numbers, and then, yeah, it just kind of sucks. But finally, let's talk about defensive back Clifton Duck. He's off to a rival league. 86.5 tackles, half a tackle for a loss, 6 picks, 5 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles. I put him here mainly just because I've talked about Eugene Ford. Vasson McCoy comes back. Byron Edwards was good, but was he enough to put over Clifton Duck? I don't think so. Like I said, secondary is kind of a concern for me when it comes to Sioux Falls. That's really only my concern. The offense is pretty good. We'll talk about this stuff in final thoughts, but overall, like I said, you do have some key losses, but you have signed quite a few players this offseason from different teams. Needless to say, I forgot to mention key returning players. Kendricks Gladney is back. Well, not back, but he's signed from Quad City. I know I talked about him in the Quad City preview. Your defense looks solid. Is it solid enough? Time will tell. But that is, like I said, that's something we'll save in a couple minutes. But yeah, the key players lost here. It's just kind of a shame to see these guys go. I think Sioux Falls can reload, but let's just go give our final thoughts here, and we'll get out of here. All right, final thoughts on the Sioux Falls Storm for 2024. I'm going to put them in the playoffs. Simple as that. What they do after that, I don't know. But the talent that they bring back, coaching that they bring back, this is still a dominant team, man. I mean, yeah, they needed a little bit of help last year to make the second seed. They were already in the playoffs. They needed a little bit of help in 2022 to make the playoffs, and they've made the playoffs every year pretty much since then. So I don't know. This is a dominant team, man, from the top to the bottom, coaching to ownership to anything and everything in between, players, fans. This is a model franchise. This is a model franchise, and I expect them to be in the playoffs. I don't call it false hope for the other teams and previews that I've done. I know I still have Tulsa to do, spoiler alert, but I can't count this team out. Just like I said about Tucson, I can't count this team out. This team will make the playoffs somehow, some way. Simple as that. If another team like a Green Bay, Iowa, Quad City, or Tulsa gets in and either knocks them out, or Mass, Jax, or Frisco, by all means, give them Coach of the Year, give them Franchise of the Year. I just don't see it happening. I have my 4 teams in the East locked up. I'll figure out seedings in a minute. But, yeah, that's where I'm at with the Sioux Falls Storm. They're in the playoffs. Simple as that. The players that they return, that offense is scary. Defense, not as scary, but they're still going to be dominant. Like East is up for the taking. I think that defense can settle in pretty nicely. Simple as that. This team is just a goddamn dominant force. I'd be stupid to leave them out of the playoffs. I'll be brutally honest with you. I thought about it. But as stupid as I am, I'd be even more stupid if I left this team out of the playoffs. So I'm not going to be that stupid. Just a little stupid. Sioux Falls is in the playoffs. Those are my final thoughts on the Sioux Falls Storm. The East is locked up. There's your 4 teams. With that being said, though, guys, 2 left, Tulsa and Vegas. We'll do Tulsa tomorrow. That being said, though, typical, like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. Do what you want to do. It's been a blast making these. I got 2 left. I'll do a predictions on who I think is going to win the championship game. And then, I mean, it's already game week. Less than a week away from kicking off the 2024 indoor football season. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting to talk about. That's really, really exciting to talk about. Yeah, I love seeing the photos and videos and stuff of training camps and stuff underway, and seeing the players just getting after it. It just brings a smile to my face that this is back. I cannot wait. I cannot freaking wait. And I know I'm going to say this after the Tulsa and Vegas previews as well. But, yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, get at me on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to do. That's pretty much it. We got 2 left to do. Tulsa's up next. I hope you enjoyed this preview of the Sioux Falls Storm. With that, I am signing off here. I will talk to you guys later. Until then, see ya.